It will be like, hey, welcome to the Think Scale podcast. We talk to everyone who's like scaling their business, be it in any discipline in B2B. Today we have Alan D'Souza. He's a great friend of mine, and he has been going like crazy with his Zapmail, while other businesses are doing something shady to just get banned by Google or Microsoft. But Alan and his team is are like going strong. And Alan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Alan, I want to start with your journey when you started text browser, right? Like, what was it was like probably your first startup.
Yes, absolutely.
What was the idea behind it, and how did you start?
I think this was way back in 2010 or so, right? I mean, and we realized that the access to information was quite limited, and we didn't even know what to search for, how to search, how to access information. And I was like, okay, how do we get this on? How do we get this to the masses? And that's how I came up with the idea of text browser, which is basically more like a chat GPT that is popular today, but more like that on SMS. So you could write saying, "How do I make a biryani?" Or tell me the movies, Kannada movies playing on TV right now, or what matches are going on right now. Anything that comes to your mind. We would fetch information in real time and be able to answer that in like 480 characters. So the intent was, how do you democratize access to information? That was the whole idea. And thankfully, that kind of went very well. We answered about a billion plus searches in a very short span of time.
Nice. So, taking from text browser to now Zapmail, if you were to book a story or like a movie or whatever, what would you title that journey?
I think maybe it would be like journey of learning. I
It could
said, I
it
don't
could be
know.
in Kannada as well.
It's
You
been a
know,
constant.
yeah.
I don't know. Of course, I think it's been a pretty interesting journey. I don't know what to call it. It's a very uh, I've not thought about this at all. Yeah, but it's been a journey of learnings, full of challenges, and of course, full of very good customer adoption. Distribution has been our strong area, and thankfully, our users have supported us very well in all of our ventures.
I mean, you have had multiple ventures, so you might have gone through like customer requests or feedback or whatever. What was the funniest one, and what tool was it? You were like, this guy is crazy.
I'm just thinking, okay. Yeah, one of the so we've had different four different five different ventures now for me, right? The first one was text browser, which was into the more like a answering engine on SMS. Then I had an app discovery platform called Free Pesa. Then I had uh, a real money gaming platform, called Teen Patti Gold Rush, and then I had Open an app, which was a creator platform, and now, of course, in the GTM space, we're building tools, which is Zapmail, Box, and so on. But I think most of our interesting uh, uh, requests have come in our recent venture itself, because in the GTM space, you're building tools which help other businesses thrive, right? So we've had people coming up and saying, okay, uh, why don't you build a workflow of sorts for me, right? Which would also deal with this offline request, right? How do you kind of get my offline things on your GTM? How do I get my offline customers also tracked within your online flow, right? So, I mean, some of these things, right, which are completely unrelated, and stuff like that. So, I mean, it is interesting of how people are thinking of scenarios, but with each of these requests, I mean, I would see an opportunity of how to kind of get closer to what customers need, what how we can build much better for what customers need, and so on.
Now let's talk about, because before Zapmail there were multiple companies doing like something similar, right? So what was the reason for you starting Zapmail? What was like the main goal or problem that you were trying to solve?
Absolutely. I think so. For me, we started Rich Inbox first. Okay, Reach Inbox was a cold outreach tool, and the idea was after I built in the creator space, I wanted to build a solution where we could use AI to hyper personalize outreach. Right? So the goal was, how do I build a solution which can hyper personalize outreach? How can I make outreach as natural as possible, emulate human behavior, and all of that? So that was how we came up with Reach Inbox. And then while we were doing Reach Inbox and while we saw the usage patterns on Reach Inbox, and people started complaining, saying, Reach Inbox is so terrible. You guys are doing a terrible job and all of that. And we're like, why? And they said none of our emails are reaching the inbox at all. And I said, okay, there should be a reason. Why is it not working? Because our emails are always reaching the inbox, and our users are not reaching. So there should. That's when I figured that we were always using proper Google, Microsoft infra for outreach, and users were still using a lot of SMTP providers that didn't really have the necessary infra to reach the inbox. And I said, okay, then this is a large problem to solve, because this was mostly 80%, 90% of the customers. Either they were using resellers who are doing it the wrong way. So I saw, even if they had Google account, Microsoft accounts, a lot of their SPF records, DKM records are missing, right? So authentication was not being done the right way. If they had, they were being on some shady panels, where they're getting shared with like 1,000 other accounts, and then their accounts are getting turned on, off every day, and so on, right? So I said there should be a better way to do this, and that's where we built Zapmail out of our own pain and our customers paid. So we said we solved it actually because we saw customers facing a problem. We said, okay, the right way to do it is when everybody is saying, okay, let me do some shady thing, you do the right thing, and then that's it, you win.
Alan, as you know, in this year alone, there's been a lot of like mishappenings. So a lot of big names that I don't want to name, they got affected because they were using institutional accounts for getting Google Workspace emails, or they were using Microsoft Azure to host emails for Microsoft, and they obviously got punished because of that. But Zapmail actually thrived because you guys were doing the right thing. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's very crucial to kind of choose the right email infra partner, understand their background there, what have they been doing, what have, how has the user experience been, and buy it from trusted platforms. For example, I love how SmartLead has set up their own the marketplace, and the Smart Centers option where users can choose, and they also show you the what other users have bought, how much percentage of the other users have bought these mailboxes, what is the delivery time, so on. And also I see a couple of infra companies doing well. So I mean, I think ensuring that you don't fall for the regular things, which is you ensure that you're not going after cheap mailboxes, which is you don't buy mailboxes which are $2 or lesser, because it's impossible to offer a legitimate license at that price. Anyone who's, I think, going below 2.5 is definitely not able to give you a licensed version. And of course, if they're unwilling to share admin access, if they tell you that, oh, no, 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 we're doing this for security reasons or whatever that they call, ensure that you just run away, right? I mean, ask your provider for admin access to your mailboxes. Ensure that you're paying a fair price, and I think everything else should
So
follow, right? I
there's a
think that's
saying
where
when
it
it
is.
comes to buying products: buy it nice or buy it twice. So I think that applies. It
Absolutely, 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 really well.
just out of curiosity, what mailbox were they using? Were they using Google or Microsoft for this? Do you have?
I think, of course, I mean, they were using, uh, what is that? They were using ESP targeting for sure, right? And I recommend that as well, which is whenever you're doing outreach, you do outreach using Google for Google and Microsoft for Microsoft. But in this particular case, and in many more cases, we've seen, of course, Google mailboxes delivering uh, better in outreach overall.
And now it's a general question for any business. It could be, what was the aha moment when you found out, okay, this business is like going to be the thing for me?
Um, I think your biggest validation is when a customer starts paying for your service. right? I believe that trials and all of that is cool, but when somebody opens up their wallet and pays for your service and comes on repeating and increases his business with you, that's your indication that okay, you're doing something right. So for us, for example, today we have users who come. Most often, our users start on the starter plan because they're like, okay, let me test this out. Is this even really working? I've heard a lot about these guys. Let me try how this works. Most of our users, more than 90% of our users, go from the starter plan directly to the growth and then to the pro plan. That is your validation, where your net revenue retention keeps on increasing. This metric is, I think, the most key metric in an entrepreneur's journey, wherein to see how much of your user is expanding, right? Is he really just there on one plan and he's like, okay, or is he churning out, or is he there and then he keeps on growing with thing? One metric is that. Second metric, I think, is also to understand how many of your users refer other users, right? Then you have a viral loop built in. So I think these are two metrics which is like, you know, which tell you that, okay, now you need to keep going, keep building in this space.
So coming to the next question, you built like multiple tools under the hood of Outbox Labs. So how do you come about, like, how do you decide which idea to pursue next? So is it just the feedback?
Yeah, most of the products that we build at Outbox are either problems that we face ourselves or things that our customers bring up to us. Okay, this is the so most of our ideas are either crowdsourced or from within ourselves. And when we solve that, uh, we solve it really well because then we have somebody who is actually facing that problem. We are not creating a solution before finding the problem, right? We have a problem and then we are solving it, and I think that's what kind of helps us quite a bit. Our next product right now that's going live is something called Referral Stack, which is in the referral management space, which basically helps you manage users who want to refer more users or others who want to refer more users, right? I think that entire process is something that we found was quite broken when I was talking to other entrepreneurs as well. And so here is how we keep on building out these products.
Now, for someone like who's just starting out, be it like a SaaS or be it any sort of product, how do they acquire their first 10 customers? Let's say they're starting from scratch, they have no connections whatsoever.
I think today, that entire, so if I were to reflect upon my first startup and today, I think that entire user acquisition journey has changed quite a bit. And because you have access to, I mean, I would always recommend building in public, right? Go out there, talk about what you're solving, talk about why you're solving, why you're the right person to solve, and first build an audience while you are actually building. I always say that, your audience building and your product building should go hand in hand. Build out the audience and keep on taking iterative feedback from your audience. Okay, this is what I'm doing, right? So this opportunity was never there earlier, right? And a lot of entrepreneurs think that, oh no, if I put out my idea out there, somebody might actually build it. If somebody can build it better than you, actually they should be building it, right? Your ideas are worth dime a dozen, right? I mean, so this is where it is. And I think go out there, get that feedback, and these are your initial set of audience, right? These are the initial 100, 200 people who are going to come back and tell you, okay, this is my feedback, make this product better. Once you've done that, your product is then ready for affiliate and outbound, right? So I think this is the next viral loop that you should look after, which is get your current users to refer more users and do outbound to kind of get more users to know about you, book more demos with you, right? I think this combination plus content can just drive any number of users to a product.
By the way, like, since we're talking about getting the story out, what platform do you like prefer someone use to, like, build in public?
I think LinkedIn does a great job at it because of the virality factor. When somebody likes someone, their network gets to know about it, and so on. So LinkedIn today has been doing great. Of course, Twitter also, but I think LinkedIn is where I would see my first set of users being there while I get started.
So, I mean, given the decades of journey that you have with your businesses, did you ever pivot in your journey, and what was it like?
Yeah, I think pivots are a integral part of any journey, right? I mean, you can think of something, and then when you build, you understand that, okay, this is how maybe I should keep on, maybe how I should build it further. And like, even in terms of when we were building text browser, we didn't on day zero, we didn't build out a complete natural language search. We initially built it very similar, keyword-based kind of search, wherein, Google, like how you have it on, we had it earlier on, Google and so on, right? Which is you just type something. But then we realized that most of the people didn't even know what those keywords were. And that's how we moved to natural language search. So I think your pivots are formed where, where you understand user feedback, and then you have to look at how do you improve and get to that acceptance of users.
So now coming back to Zapmail, because that's like the biggest hero right now. That's the talk of the town. So you grew it to, is it 10 million ARR in July, and you're rooting for 15 million ARR like by the end of the year. So you did it
Yeah.
without any sales team. So other than what we are talking about, what's the secret sauce to growing a tool to that level?
I think one is solve a very fundamental pain area, uh, solve it in the right, honest way, which is very rare, right? And and keep the pricing to be very value driven, and build a viral loop around it. I think these four aspects are the ones that actually can get you the traction that you need, right? So I think that's precisely what we did, and then users supported us in our journey. They found value in what we were offering, and I mean, it's all thanks to our users. They really pushed us up, right? I mean, I cannot say anything else, but I think it's the users who drove us to this extent. Yeah, so that's where it is.
Now there's some questions that you have already answered, so I'm not going to repeat them. But coming back to Outbox Labs, so you had two major products, Zapmail and Reach Inbox. Which among them was the more difficult one to develop, and why?
I think, of course, both of them had their own journeys. Both of them are very unique in their own ways. Reach Inbox is fairly more complex in terms of the feature set that we have. But Zapmail is much more complex in terms of the scale and overall, operational efficiency that we have. When you're managing 500,000 plus mailboxes day in day out, and across managing maybe close to more than 30-40,000 requests an hour in terms of changes or whatever that happens. So then at that point you're talking of a massive operational efficiency that is needed in terms of your product backend. So I think that's where the
Nice.
complexities
But
grow with scale.
still, how long do you think it took you to like create an MVP for Reach Inbox versus how long did it take to create one?
Both the products took almost the same time. Yeah, it almost took the same time to kind of build out the first versions. Building is very easy, and I think the time required to build now has scaled down drastically thanks to all of the AI tools that we have. Earlier you had to conceptualize all of that. I mean, today AI does it all for you, right? So building time has gone down significantly, but now I think it's only about scaling efficiency and distribution. These two things are the
Yeah.
ones that
So do you
matter the
like hire
most.
vibe coders in your company as well right now?
I think we don't. I think vibe coders are entrepreneurs themselves, right? I mean, they're building out tools by themselves. But what it has done for us as a company is we no longer have back-end developers, front-end developers. We have full stack developers, people who can build and get moving much faster. So this is something that has significantly improved our shipping time at Outbox.
You mentioned painkiller products at Outbox Labs. So what makes a product painkiller versus like a vitamin?
I mean, is it a good to have or a must have, right? I mean, vitamins are always good to have. Okay, it will, it might help me in growing my business. It might help me, but Painkiller is this is my business, right? I mean, my business cannot survive without this, right? For example, if you look at Reach Inbox as a product, outbound is required for any B2B business there, right? So they need to acquire customers. They need to find leads. So that's where Reach Inbox comes in. In terms of Zapmail, you need to have email infra. You need to, have the right infra to kind of succeed at outreach. That's why it's a painkiller, right? Um, if there is a product where, okay, uh, I mean, I can help you um, maybe check your analytics,
Nice
right?
to have.
It's great, but yeah, it's nice, right? So that's where it is.
Let's talk about email marketing. You've been in the space for quite a while. How much do you think it has changed over time?
Oh, it's significantly changed, and it is changing every day. I think when I first did cold outreach back in my text browser days, right? So that's how in text browser days we used to do cold outreach for content partners and for distribution partners. Um, it There was no concept of adjacent domains at all. There was just your Google mailbox or your whatever mailbox that you had. Rackspace had a mailbox, mail service, all of those things, and you could just connect these mailboxes and just blast 1,000 emails a day. There's no problem. Same copy, nothing happens, right? And that kind of continued. And I think even till 15, 16, people were still using their own primary domains. Now that has significantly changed. You're looking at adjacent domains for your company. You're looking at maintaining within 20 25 mails a day per domain per workspace, right? So the number of outreach emails that go per domain has significantly dipped. The focus on health scores, the focus on um, domain health has significantly gone up, and I think that's where it is. So deliverability is very key right now, and a lot of factors now affect it. Email service providers are trying their best to kind of only deliver relevant emails, and then you need to figure out how you're going to be the relevant
Another
one.
thing I wanted to like basically compliment Zapmail for this is usually these other email providers where you're like buying emails in bulk, they would want you to buy domains from them only. But it's not the case with you guys. You guys like give the freedom,
Yeah,
buy a domain wherever you want to buy it from. You can connect them. So this was like one of the added features, I would say, even before when these other
thank
tools
you.
were like they didn't mess up back then, but you still had that feature. So that was a great thing.
I think that thought came, like you rightly said, that thought came with putting your customer first. How would I feel if I was a customer is the question that we always ask, right? Okay, so what would we want to see in this product if we were customers of this product, right? And do right by your customers, and your customers will push you ahead.
So even right now, I know as an entrepreneur, you might be going through the feedback loops and everything, or whatever customers are facing. What do you think are the top mistakes even the most experienced cold emails are making, according to you?
Sure, I think some of the things that we notice, one is, of course, not warming up well enough with the right providers. I think that is definitely a huge red flag, right? Once you have mailboxes, and that's also the reason why we started pre-warmed up mailboxes on Zapmail, where we said, okay, if users are not wanting to put in the effort for warming up, okay, at least buy these mailboxes which are ready for outreach from day zero. And not warming up, sending beyond your limits, right? Sending about 30 emails a day per domain, right? Kind of that kind of a thing that severely impacts your deliverability, we feel. And also, ensuring personalization and relevance in your copy. I think that is very, very important these days. You cannot send the same copy just by changing, hey, first name, hey, last name, kind of a thing. I think these are the major things are red flags that we've seen. One of the other also important thing is, and I've stressed enough on this, which is having profile pictures in all of your mailboxes, right? So we launched a feature recently on Zapmail, which is basically which enables you to, set up all of these things right on your mailboxes in one click. Of course, AI powered and all of that stuff, but yeah, we've done this as well. So, to help drive more
So
deliverability, more
that
open
like
rates for
the
our
tool
users.
becomes idiot proof, so that people are not making mistakes.
Absolutely.
Now that we've talked about the past, let's talk about the future. How do you think AI will change cold email within like the next 2 to 3 years? What do you think the direction will be?
I think AI has only driven positive impact overall. One is, of course, I think that relevance of whom you're reaching out to is going to increase significantly. Unless you don't want to, I still see users with just, spray and pray kind of an approach, but that no longer works very well. So the relevance of whom you're going to reach out, at what time are you reaching out, for what intent are you reaching out, that is very crucial. And and I think, yeah, if you're using the right kind of tools to personalize your outreach, I think it can really drive amazing response rates. So one of our users very recently, he kind of reached out. He got a 14.5% response rate at a scale of close to 13,000 outreach. So, these were some of the things that they had really kind of covered, which was um, personalization of copy. Each copy was unique. And then, of course, following all of these best practices, using pre-warmed mailboxes, and so on. So I think, yeah, all of these play a very important role.
Now, I think it was last year or like even later that Apple did this mail privacy protection for their customers. Do you think there was any impact on deliverability? On
I think the impact was on, of course, open rates, which is open rate tracking just didn't make sense beyond that, wherein, you would see uh, open rates of 95% and reply rates of 0.5% or 0.2%. So I think that's where it is. I mean, your open rate tracking today is more of an indicator of whether your mails are even going through, or it's not really an indicator of people actually opening your emails and so on. So that, of course, was a huge impact overall.
we've talked about the tools. Let's talk about you as a person and how you have grown. You've been in business for like decades now, and there must have been points where you just felt like giving up, right? And how did you like go through that process? Like how did you come up on the top?
I think there was this phrase, right? I mean, this too shall pass, right? I mean, that's a very that's something very close to me, because whenever things don't work, I mean, I always believe that hard work beats bad luck, right? You kind of work so hard that then luck gives up and says, okay, let me shine some light on these guys, right? So I think that's very crucial. And I feel that's what I've always told our team as well, which is luck only favors the hardworking. You keep on, don't give up, don't um, don't keep on. I mean, keep on working hard towards what you're looking for, and of course, success will follow. It's an outcome of
The
hard
three
work.
idiots
That's it.
philosophy.
So I think that's what. Of
So
course, of
I
course.
think it might be related. What was this lesson that was the hardest for you to learn that you thought, okay, um, I wish someone had told this to me earlier?
Yeah, I think distribution trumps everything, right? I mean, um, it is the only single most important factor of entrepreneurship, which is figuring out distribution, whether your people really need what you're building, whether people are actually willing to, kind of uh, pay for the product that you're building. I think this was one of the hardest lessons that I learned, uh, because when I built before text browser, I built one of the products which kind of, you know we built it out really well. It was a very technically challenging product, all of that stuff. but nobody really wanted it. And that was a lesson that, okay, how did you spend so much of time, resource, energy, money building out a product when, without even understanding distribution? So today, of course, there are tools and there are mediums in which you can figure out user demand, you can figure out distribution way before you're building. So I think that's the only lesson. Please understand whether users really need what you're building. Is this a problem that is there in your mind, or whether it's actually there for users?
And what there's been like multiple videos on YouTube, multiple posts on LinkedIn and Twitter that hey, cold email is dying, and we still see companies like yours going up and not going down. So what keeps you hopeful, and what do you want to say to the people that say cold email is dead?
I think, of course, cold email is dying if you don't do it the right way. So I think people who want to still use methods that were working a couple of years back, they still feel they don't see results, and then they start giving up, saying cold email is dying. I think the right way is to understand what's working in 2025, understand how you can adapt. And I still see multi-million dollar businesses being built out of cold emails. So, and those are the businesses that keep us growing as well. So I don't see cold emailing dying anytime soon. People who are doing it right are really doing well for themselves. Others are just making posts about cold emailing dying,
Nice.
gathering
So
audience on that.
now let's talk about customer success. You might have had many customer stories, like you might have read many of them. So is there any one that shines out where the customer was failing miserably, and then he used one of the tools, let's say Zapmail, Reach Inbox, he actually succeeded?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best part of my day. I mean, I wake up to about two, three messages like this every day, wherein, like one of the messages I can never forget, he mentioned Zapmail was the iPhone moment for his journey, right? This is something I could never forget. But I wake up to some of these messages on LinkedIn, on email, and I think it's a very encouraging part of our journey where customers write to us saying, where were you guys all these days when I was doing things manually, when things are not working out. So I mean, it's great validation. We kind of put this on our Slack general channel, and it's like a morning routine for us that, okay, today we have this many things, today we have these things. But also, I think of one of the most important part of customer success is to understand and appreciate what the customer is going through. Put yourself in the customer's shoes. This is something that we've done from day zero, which is understand if you were there, what would you want? How would you feel? Your customer is coming to you for you to solve a problem. Ensure that you provide that solution. Ensure that you are the best at providing that solution. That's what we strive for, and thankfully, our customer stories kind of tell us we've fared pretty well in that. So I think
Awesome.
that's where it is.
Now, coming back to the customers, right? So there's multiple things to measure when it comes to customer success, delivery rates, open rates, and all that, reply rates. But what else do you measure on the holistic front that hey, the customers are succeeding?
For us, I think one is at there across different products we have different metrics, right? At Zapmail, I only look at I don't get to access their internal metrics of what is the open rates and so on, but I get to see how they're expanding their outreach. Right. I mean, that itself is a huge metric for us that, okay, somebody started with 10 mailboxes, has gone to 30 mailboxes, gone to 200 mailboxes. Maybe somebody wouldn't
Yeah.
do that if things are not working well. He's experimenting first. He's seeing that, okay, he's getting results and then he's growing, right? And as I said earlier, for me, 90% of our users expand, right? So 90% of our users start with the smallest plan and then they kind of grow. So, I mean, that's a huge win for us. On Reach Inbox, we have a very different metric. We call it the positive reply
Yeah.
rate. Nothing else matters other than the positive reply rate, right? Every other metric is a vanity metric, we feel. So our entire goal is towards optimizing towards positive replies. How do we ensure that more people are, how do we equip our users to kind of get more positive replies is what we work
So,
towards.
Let's talk about the future of the tools. What's in for the future for Zapmail or Box or something new that's coming up?
I think as an organization, we're looking at expanding in everything GTM, right? We started with the outreach space. We are building tools in the inbound space. Outbound space is already done. We're also doing building tools in the advertising space and in of course in the affiliate space. So we try to cover all of the channels of GTM and build become a single destination where anything GTM can be handled using products by Outbox.
So the next question basically is, what's the biggest dream about your business that you haven't shared publicly yet, or is this going to be it?
Well, I think it's a tough question. Of course, dream is I don't think anyone who dreams less than the sky, I don't think that is an option at all. But of course, what we are aiming for now is the journey today for us is to how do we reach 100 million ARR at the earliest possible and in the best possible way, of course, and in trying to solve and get more customer success stories is our goal right now for the next 18 months. This is what we are aiming for and trying to figure out how we can do that as quickly as possible.
Now that we have done, we only have a couple rapid fire questions, so I'm not going to give you time to think. So it's
Wow.
not like something really crazy. So the first one is, what's your favorite productivity hack to do's? Any
To-dos.
tool, or is it just like write it down on?
Yes.
Okay,
To-doist.
three SaaS
To-doist.
tools other than the ones that you have developed. The three SaaS tools that you can't live without.
Wow, this is I need to take whichever I open tabs. Yeah, I think
Okay.
Basecamp for sure, Figma for sure, and Zoho Tools. Some of
Okay,
the products by
a
Zoho are great.
book
Yeah,
that changed your entrepreneurial thinking. It
not too
maybe
much into
might be a
books.
movie, could be anything.
I think movie, of course. I think a couple of these movies, right? Schindler's List was a great movie that inspired me quite a bit. The impact of an entrepreneur, the impact that an entrepreneur can bring, that was something that really pushed me. And in the Indian context, of course, Guru, to see about the story
Nice.
of
Okay,
Dhirubhai Ambani, yeah,
coffee or tea to fuel your workday.
coffee.
Biggest email marketing myth that you want to bust.
Uh, I think get licensed versions of um, mailboxes or email infra. Rest everything is a myth. IPs and all of that doesn't really matter. It's just get licensed versions and everything else follows. There's a lot of talk about this IP is better, that IP is better. EU IPs work, US IPs work, this IPs don't work, whatever. I mean, I think we've seen zero impact in any of this. It's just that people feel or people have read and other people have spoken about it. Just get licensed versions.
It's
That's the
it's
only
kind of
thing
like,
that
I don't know if
matters.
you've seen Mad Men. You might have. So remember the it's
Yeah,
toasted analogy. Like there's absolutely no difference, but you're gonna
right.
like make your cigarette. Hey, it's toasted. That's why it's better. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Now the
yeah,
last
yeah.
one. If you
Exactly.
weren't building email tools, what would you be doing with your time?
I think I would be backing other entrepreneurs. I think that's what I've been passionate about. Entrepreneurship is something I'm passionate about. So if I was
So
not
kind of
building,
like a
probably I'd be
shark
backing others.
in
Yeah.
Shark Tank, probably.
I think probably more like an angel look at, back and
But
be
yeah, man,
helpful in the journey.
this has
Yes.
been amazing, and you should be out more. Or absolutely, yeah. I see you as one of the next Shark Tanks. Hopefully soon, within like the next
Thank you.
decade. But thank you for like taking out the time. I know like there's multiple things going on. So thanks so much for your time, and
Thank you.
I'd love to have your thoughts whenever it goes out. I'd love to send you the links and everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks.